Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you today to a moment of reflection, to a space where the noise of the world quiets, and we can connect with something deeper, something more real within us all. The power of presence lies in the simple yet profound ability to be fully engaged in the moment at hand. Most of us, unfortunately, spend our lives distracted, lost in thoughts about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Our minds often wander to the past, replaying events or regrets or projecting into the future with anxiety or anticipation. In doing so, we disconnect from the only reality that truly exists, the present moment. When we begin to practice presence, we stop viewing the world through the lens of past experiences or future expectations. We start to see things as they are in their purest form. The sound of the wind rustling through the leaves, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of food, the feeling of your breath, it is all here right now. When we are truly present, we can savor life in ways we cannot when we are distracted. The mind is a powerful tool, but when it controls us, it becomes a source of stress and confusion. When we learn to quiet the constant chatter of the mind, we create space to experience life directly. Presence allows us to connect to the deeper flow of life, a flow that does not depend on circumstances or external validation. It's not about controlling the mind, but simply observing it, letting thoughts come and go without attaching to them. In presence, there is freedom. We release ourselves from the tyranny of past mistakes or future uncertainties. We recognize that the only moment that matters is the one we are living right now. When we ground ourselves in the present, we tap into an infinite source of peace and clarity that exists beyond our thoughts, beyond our limitations. And it is in that space of presence that life truly unfolds in its richest form. The ego is a construct, a false sense of self that we often mistake for our true identity. It is built upon external factors such as achievements, social roles, possessions, and the judgments of others. From an early age, we begin to shape this identity based on how we see ourselves in relation to the world. We identify with our accomplishments, our failures, our desires, and our fears, and in doing so we become prisoners of this self-image. But this ego is not who we truly are. The ego thrives on comparison and competition. It tells us we are better or worse than others based on arbitrary standards, creating a sense of separation from those around us. It feeds on validation and external approval, constantly seeking to be recognized and admired. But no matter how much recognition or success the ego receives, it remains insatiable. It is never truly satisfied because it is based on an illusion of separation, an illusion that we are individuals disconnected from the rest of life. When we become attached to the ego, we lose sight of the deeper truth of our existence. We are not our thoughts, our titles, or our material possessions. These are transient aspects of the self, but the essence of who we are remains unchanged. Beneath the layers of the ego is a presence that is timeless, boundless, and interconnected with all of life. The more we identify with the ego, the more we suffer, because it is rooted in fear, insecurity, and the need for control. True freedom arises when we begin to disidentify with the ego. We recognize that the ego is just a part of us, not the whole. In doing so, we allow ourselves to experience life without the constant pressure of needing to prove something or maintain a certain image. We realize that we are not the ego's thoughts or stories, but the awareness behind them, peaceful and ever-present. The past is a realm that no longer exists, yet so many of us continue to carry its weight, allowing it to shape our present and future. Our memories, experiences, and past decisions are stored in our minds, and while they serve as lessons or markers in time, they should not define who we are now. We often hold onto the past, whether it's through regret, guilt, nostalgia, or resentment. This attachment to the past creates a mental prison, limiting our ability to move forward, and fully embrace the present. The reality is, the past is beyond our control. It has already unfolded, and no amount of dwelling on it can change its course. When we live in the past, we are essentially disconnected from the vibrant, alive moment of now. We become prisoners of yesterday, letting it dictate how we see ourselves and how we interact with the world around us. The mistakes we made, the pain we endured, or the joy we once felt, they become the lens through which we view everything, blurring our perception of the present. Letting go of the past is not about forgetting or dismissing it, but about releasing the emotional grip it has over us. It's about recognizing that the past no longer has the power to hurt us unless we keep resurrecting it in our minds. When we can truly let go of past hurts or failures, we free ourselves from the cycle of regret. Similarly, when we stop living in the past's glory, we stop preventing ourselves from evolving. In the absence of the past's constant influence, we find space to experience life as it is right now. We open ourselves to new possibilities, to new relationships, and to new growth. Letting go of the past allows us to be fully alive, fully present, and fully free. Acceptance of what is can be one of the most transformative practices in life. So often we resist reality, fighting against the flow of events, trying to control or manipulate outcomes to fit our expectations. We wish things were different, whether it's our circumstances, our relationships, or even our own emotions, and in this resistance we create suffering. Acceptance, however, is the key to peace. It doesn't mean resignation or passivity, but rather a deep acknowledgement of the present moment, just as it is. When we accept what is, we stop fighting against reality, we stop arguing with life, and we stop wasting energy wishing for things to be different. This does not mean we abandon our desires or goals. Acceptance allows us to face situations as they are, without denial or distortion. It is a choice to see things clearly without judgment, and to let go of any resistance to what is unfolding in front of us. Life as it is enough. In acceptance, we find the freedom to engage with life without the constant burden of dissatisfaction. The pain we experience often comes from our resistance to the present moment. We may find ourselves wishing for a different outcome, hoping that things will change, or looking for ways to escape uncomfortable emotions. But when we resist, we only magnify the pain. Acceptance, on the other hand, softens the experience. It doesn't mean we approve of everything that happens, but we stop fighting it internally. When we accept the present, we open ourselves to the possibility of inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. In relationships, acceptance is equally powerful. We often expect others to meet our expectations, and when they don't, we become frustrated or disappointed. But when we accept others as they are, without trying to change them, we create space for real connection. True acceptance frees us from the need to control, and in doing so, it brings harmony to our interactions and to our inner world. Thoughts are powerful, but they are not who we are. The mind constantly generates a stream of thoughts, ideas, memories, judgments, fears, and desires that can easily overwhelm us if we believe that we are the sum of those thoughts. In truth, thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. They come and go, but they do not define the sky itself. The key is to recognize this and to stop identifying with every thought that arises. The problem is not the presence of thoughts, but our attachment to them. We tend to believe every thought that enters our mind, giving it weight and significance. If we think we are unworthy, we begin to feel unworthy. If we think we are anxious, we become anxious. If we judge others, we believe that judgment defines us. This attachment to thought creates a cycle of suffering. We become trapped in a mental labyrinth, chasing after thoughts, reacting to them, and giving them the power to shape our emotions and behaviors. The freedom comes when we realize that we are the observer of our thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. Just as we can watch clouds pass through the sky without becoming involved in them, we can observe our thoughts without becoming entangled. When we step back and see thoughts for what they are, fleeting mental events, we create a distance between ourselves and them. This detachment allows us to choose how we respond to them, rather than being controlled by them. Thoughts are tools, they are not masters. They arise naturally, but they do not have to dictate our experience. When we learn to watch them without judgment, without attachment, we stop being their servant. We become the stillness in which they arise and fade, the awareness behind them that is unaffected by their transient nature. The more we practice this detachment, the more we reclaim our inner peace and our ability to act from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. In the modern world, silence and stillness are often overlooked, yet they hold an immense power that many fail to recognize. In a society where noise, both external and internal, is omnipresent, we find ourselves constantly distracted, pulled in multiple directions. Our devices beep, our thoughts race, and the demands of daily life never seem to cease. Amid this constant activity, silence is not just an absence of sound, it is a doorway to a deeper level of awareness and understanding. When we embrace silence, we create the space to connect with our inner selves. In stillness, we are not preoccupied with past regrets or future anxieties, we simply are. Silence allows us to quiet the constant chatter of the mind and tune into the more subtle, profound layers of our consciousness. It is in moments of silence that we can listen to our true feelings, our intuition, and the subtle wisdom that resides within us. Without the noise of the world drowning out our inner voice, we can hear the whispers of clarity, peace, and insight that would otherwise go unnoticed. Stillness also allows us to reconnect with the present moment. It removes the need for constant stimulation and allows us to fully engage with life as it unfolds. When we are still, we are no longer caught up in the past or future. We experience life exactly as it is, with full attention and presence. In that moment, there is no division between ourselves and the world around us. We are part of the flow, part of the greater whole. Moreover, in a world dominated by action and doing, silence and stillness offer the vital counterbalance. They remind us that being is just as important as doing, and that in stillness we can often find the answers we seek. It is in the spaces between thoughts, between words, that we often find the most profound truths about ourselves and the world. In embracing presence, letting go of the past, accepting what is, detaching from the ego, observing our thoughts, and embracing silence, we unlock the potential for profound peace and clarity. These practices invite us to step beyond the distractions of daily life and reconnect with our true essence. By choosing to live with awareness, we free ourselves from limitation, allowing life to unfold naturally and with grace as we become the peaceful observers of our own existence.